What if everything you've been told about life, death, and the soul's journey was incomplete? What if the idea that we only live once is not the full story, but rather a carefully curated version of spiritual truth? For centuries, the belief in reincarnation, the idea that the soul experiences multiple lifetimes, has existed in cultures and religions across the world. But what if it was once a part of Christianity as well, only to be deliberately erased from history? Could early Christians have believed in reincarnation, only for the doctrine to be removed by powerful rulers and councils seeking to reshape religious beliefs? If this is true, what was their motivation for suppressing such a profound idea? To explore this mystery, we must journey back in time to civilizations that existed long before Christianity took form. The ancient Egyptians, for instance, saw death not as an end, but as a transition. Their Book of the Dead details how the soul is judged and may return in a new form to continue its journey. The Great Pyramids, silent witnesses to centuries of wisdom, were built on the understanding that existence extends beyond a single lifetime. Egyptian priests believed the soul traveled through different states, either reincarnating to continue its evolution or remaining in the spiritual realm based on the purity of its deeds. In India, the Vedic texts, written around 1500 BC, introduced the concept of samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. According to Hindu philosophy, a person's karma, or actions, shape their future lives, offering continuous opportunities for spiritual growth until ultimate liberation, moksha, is attained. This belief suggests that life is a journey of learning, where each incarnation serves as an opportunity to correct past mistakes and evolve spiritually. Across the Mediterranean, Greek philosophers such as Pythagoras and Plato also spoke of reincarnation. Pythagoras taught that the soul was immortal, passing through different bodies in a gradual process of purification. He believed in a divine order within the universe, where reincarnation allowed the soul to ascend towards spiritual enlightenment. Plato, in Phaedo, recorded Socrates' belief that souls ascend to higher realms based on their wisdom and virtue, while those still needing growth return to the physical world. This concept was not merely a philosophical idea, but a fundamental understanding of existence in many ancient societies. If reincarnation was widely accepted among so many cultures, could it have also been part of early Christianity? In the first few centuries after Christ, Christian beliefs were not yet fixed. There was no official Bible, and different communities interpreted Jesus' teachings in their own ways. Many early Christians saw the soul as eternal, undergoing multiple lifetimes in its journey towards spiritual purification. Some scholars suggest that Jesus himself may have alluded to the idea of reincarnation in certain passages of the Bible. For example, when Jesus spoke about John the Baptist, he suggested that John could be the reincarnation of the prophet Elijah, and if you are willing to accept it, he is the Elijah who was to come. Matthew 11:14. This statement aligns with the idea that souls can return in different lifetimes to fulfill divine purposes. One of the most significant figures in early Christianity, Origen of Alexandria, openly taught that souls pre-existed before birth and went through multiple incarnations to attain perfection. His writings in De Principiis, on the principles, suggest that the soul continues to reincarnate until it reaches complete purification, aligning with the idea that divine justice operates through multiple lifetimes. He believed that reincarnation was not punishment, but an opportunity for learning and growth. According to Origen, God's justice was not confined to a single lifetime, or rather, the soul's journey spanned multiple existences, allowing it to learn, evolve, and draw closer to divine wisdom. However, as Christianity became more institutionalized, the doctrine of reincarnation posed a challenge to the emerging church's authority. If people believed they had multiple lives to attain spiritual enlightenment, they might not feel as reliant on the church for salvation. This threatened the growing power structure of religious leaders, who sought to establish Christianity as the dominant faith under the Roman Empire. By the 6th century, Emperor Justinian and his wife, Empress Theodora, took decisive action to remove reincarnation from Christian teachings. In 553 AD, at the Second Council of Constantinople, the belief in reincarnation was condemned as heresy. This decision was not merely a theological one. It was a strategic move to consolidate power. By eliminating the concept of multiple lives, the Church reinforced the belief that salvation could only be achieved through its teachings in a single lifetime. The Council, led by bishops and theologians under imperial influence, ensured that reincarnation was erased from mainstream Christian doctrine. Origen's works were later labeled as heretical, and his teachings on reincarnation were systematically suppressed. Over time, the Christian narrative shifted toward the idea of a single life, followed by either eternal salvation or damnation, strengthening the Church's role as the sole mediator of spiritual destiny. The removal of reincarnation from Christian teachings was not simply a theological adjustment. It was a strategic move that reinforced the Church's control over spiritual matters. The doctrine of reincarnation implied that individuals were responsible for their own spiritual evolution, with or without the Church. By eliminating this belief, the Church positioned itself as the essential gateway to salvation, emphasizing obedience, repentance, and faith within a single lifetime. Despite its suppression, the idea of reincarnation never fully disappeared. It continued to thrive in esoteric Christian traditions, mystical writings, and spiritual movements that sought to preserve ancient wisdom. The Gnostic Christians, who followed alternative interpretations of Jesus' teachings, still embraced the idea that the soul's journey extended beyond one lifetime. Even today, some mystical branches of Christianity and other spiritual traditions maintain that reincarnation was once part of the faith's original teachings. This raises profound questions. Was reincarnation deliberately hidden to serve political and religious agendas? Did early Christian leaders remove this concept to ensure obedience to a doctrine that reinforced the Church's control? If reincarnation was once an accepted belief, what other spiritual truths might have been lost or altered over time? The fact that reincarnation exists in so many cultures and ancient traditions suggests that it may hold deeper truths about the soul's journey. If the soul truly undergoes multiple lives, what does that mean for our understanding of existence, morality, and divine justice? Could it be that we are meant to remember this ancient knowledge? Perhaps the key to understanding our spiritual purpose lies not in what has been preserved in religious texts, but in what was deliberately erased. If reincarnation is indeed part of the human experience, it could offer a new perspective on life, death, and the evolution of the soul. The answers may not be found in written records alone, but in the unspoken truths that echo across history, waiting to be rediscovered. The belief in life after death has played a major role in shaping religious doctrines, particularly in Christianity. One of the most powerful ways the church maintained authority over believers was by reinforcing the idea that people had only one life to attain salvation. This belief created a sense of urgency, ensuring that individuals adhered strictly to church teachings, rituals, and clergy guidance. If salvation depended entirely on a single lifetime, people were more likely to remain obedient to the church, fearing eternal damnation if they strayed from its doctrines. However, the concept of reincarnation posed a significant challenge to this control. Reincarnation suggested that the soul could progress through multiple lives, evolving independently rather than being confined to the authority of a single religious institution. If believers thought they had multiple chances to grow spiritually, they might not feel the same pressure to follow the church's strict rules in a single lifetime. Emperor Justinian I recognized that a unified Christian doctrine would strengthen not only the church's authority, but also his own rule over the empire. A religious system that dictated a singular path to salvation reinforced imperial control, eliminating alternative beliefs that could weaken central authority. To solidify the church's position as the only gateway to salvation, Justinian took direct action to remove reincarnation from Christian doctrine. His decision enforced the belief that salvation had to be achieved immediately and exclusively through obedience to the church, leaving no room for alternative spiritual interpretations. The church, as the sole mediator between humans and God, gained an even stronger grip over the minds and actions of the people. Justinian's wife, Theodora, played a significant role in shaping this doctrinal shift. Before becoming empress, Theodora had endured a difficult life marked by extreme poverty and social stigma due to her past as an actress and prostitute. These experiences instilled in her a deep-seated fear of being reborn into another life of hardship. Her personal fear of reincarnation, combined with Justinian's broader ambition to unify Christian teachings, contributed to the suppression of the belief. By officially condemning reincarnation, they reinforced the necessity of securing salvation within a single lifetime. Justinian issued a decree declaring reincarnation heretical, and political pressure ensured that even those who initially resisted the change were forced to accept it. Religious scholars who continued to advocate for reincarnation risked excommunication, marginalization, or worse. The theologian Origen, who had been one of the most influential early Christian thinkers advocating for reincarnation, was ultimately branded a heretic, and his teachings were systematically erased from Christian doctrine. The formal condemnation of Origen was followed by official documents that explicitly banned the belief in reincarnation, ensuring that the doctrine was removed from mainstream Christianity. Despite the Church's efforts to erase reincarnation from Christian teachings, certain passages in the Bible suggest that the belief may have once been more widely accepted among early Christians. One of the most frequently cited examples is found in Matthew 17:10-13. After witnessing Jesus' transfiguration, his disciples asked him about the prophecy that Elijah would return before the coming of the Messiah. Jesus responded that Elijah had already come, referring to John the Baptist. This statement strongly suggests that John the Baptist was a reincarnation of Elijah, a concept that would have been understood by early followers of Jesus. Another compelling passage appears in John 9:1-25, when Jesus and his disciples encounter a man who was blind from birth. The disciples ask, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" This question implies that they believed the man could have sinned in a past life, as it would make no sense to suggest that he had sinned before birth unless the idea of reincarnation was familiar to them. Jesus does not dismiss their assumption outright, but instead explains that the man's blindness was not due to past sin, but rather served a divine purpose. This interaction suggests that the disciples were at least open to the idea that the soul carried experiences from previous existences. Another significant passage is found in John 3:3-7, where Jesus tells Nicodemus, "Unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God." Nicodemus, confused, asks if a person could physically return to their mother's womb. Jesus clarifies that he is speaking of a spiritual rebirth, but some scholars argue that this passage could be interpreted as a veiled reference to reincarnation, a continuous cycle of lives allowing the soul to grow and evolve. Although Christianity officially rejected reincarnation, the concept remained deeply embedded in spiritual traditions worldwide. Hinduism and Buddhism, for example, consider reincarnation to be a fundamental truth, viewing each lifetime as a stage in the soul's journey toward enlightenment. Over time, the idea of reincarnation resurfaced in the West, gaining popularity through contact with Eastern spiritual philosophies. Thinkers such as Alan Watts helped introduce Eastern beliefs to Western audiences, while spiritual leaders like the Dalai Lama emphasized reincarnation as a key element of spiritual progress. The Indian philosopher Swami Vivekananda played a major role in spreading the idea that the soul is reborn to continue learning and purifying itself. In these traditions, the concept of karma is closely linked to reincarnation. A person's actions in one life shape their future experiences, reinforcing the idea of personal responsibility and spiritual growth across multiple lifetimes. Beyond religion, reincarnation has also been explored in scientific and psychological studies. Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist at the University of Virginia, spent decades researching children who claimed to remember past lives. Many of these children provided detailed accounts of people, places, and events from lifetimes they could not have known about. In some cases, their descriptions were later verified through historical records, lending credibility to the possibility that past life memories exist. Similarly, Dr. Brian Weiss popularized past life regression therapy, a technique in which individuals recall supposed past life experiences under hypnosis. Many of his patients reported vivid memories that seemed to explain unexplained fears, phobias, and emotional struggles in their current lives. These findings have led some psychologists to suggest that past life memories may influence a person's psyche, even if they do not consciously recall them. The idea of reincarnation remains one of the most profound spiritual mysteries. For some, it offers hope and meaning, providing a framework for understanding life as an ongoing journey of learning and transformation, rather than the strict heaven or hell dichotomy taught by mainstream Christianity. Reincarnation presents a more compassionate view of existence, where the soul is given multiple opportunities to evolve. It suggests that life is not about achieving perfection in one lifetime, but about progressing step by step through many lifetimes, each offering lessons for personal and spiritual growth. In contrast, others reject reincarnation, believing it conflicts with traditional Christian teachings about salvation. Some argue that the soul's journey should not extend beyond one lifetime, as Christian doctrine states that a person's fate is determined at death. Regardless of one's stance on reincarnation, the question of what happens after death continues to intrigue and inspire spiritual seekers. Whether the soul undergoes multiple lifetimes or experiences a singular existence, the most important takeaway is how we live in the present. What truly matters is not the final destination, but how we choose to act, love, and grow in the time we have. The pursuit of truth, self-awareness, and compassion is what ultimately shapes our spiritual journey. In the end, whether our essence continues through many lives or exists as a single breath in the vast expanse of time, what matters most is that we live with purpose, kindness, and an open heart. Thank you for watching.